Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'm going to call to order the People, Parks, and Public Works Committee, and I'm asking the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Monroe.
Here.
Councilmember Gruber.
Here.
Councilmember Patterson. Here. Vice President Harris.
Here.
President Melendez.
Here.
Thank you.
So we have one presentation scheduled for this month, and I would like to welcome our Commissioner, Dr. Shirley Green, Commissioner of Recreation and Human Services. And she'll be providing us some information about summer recreation and how the community can get connected.
Good evening. Thank you, Councilmember Monroe. And to the council members, you have a blue packet in front of you, and so I'm going to share what is in the blue packet and then answer any questions that you have.
And pardon me, Commissioner, just so that it gets through XXI, if you could make sure that you're talking in even closer into the microphone. I know it feels strange.
Yes, thank you. So in your packet, the first thing you have is a copy of the Summer Art Guide. The Summer Art Guide will be officially released on May 19th. And this Art Guide is being mailed to all city residents so that they have copies in their hands. They can also access the Summer Art Guide by visiting the website for the Department of Recreation and Human Services. And what the Art Guide has is all of the activities, programs for young people and adults throughout Monroe County, throughout the city of Rochester. You'll say, why am I saying Monroe County? Because you will see as we get through one of the slides that we do have residents outside the city that visit our programs and events and activities. So the next thing you have in front of you is a document that highlights the activities by location. So these activities will be scheduled in the summer. I provided age restrictions or age groups that they're available for. And then I also provided a program description of those programs. And as you can see, it's organized by location. For an example, Fishing Fun will be at Adams Street for young people 12 and under. And it talks about what that program will look like. And if you go through the chart, it is an Excel spreadsheet of all of the programs that will be available for our young people and adults throughout the summer. There are also information about the swim lessons, summer session for swimming, and locations for swim activities. And then if you will turn to the pie chart, I'll give you a time to find the pie chart. The other piece of information that was requested was the number of participants by location. And so we have that listed, and as you can see, client residency by quadrant, we listed it by northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. And if you look at this document, it shows the percentage of residents in each of the locations. It does list non-residents, and we wanted to make sure you understood the number of non-city residents that participate in our programs. So that's why that is listed as non-residents. Those are zip codes outside of the city of Rochester. And this information is for the entire year 2025. So I will give you a few moments to look at those charts. We also have a chart by age of the clients that participate in our programs and activities. And you see a very low number for 0 to 4 because we really only take 4-year-olds for certain programs. That is not one of our main age groups that we provide services for, but we have started a micro programming, and it does start at age 4. And then if you look at the last chart, which is a bar graph, this document is listed by recreation centers. So if you wanted to know how many residents from each area visit recreation centers. So for an example, at Adams Street Rec Center, 3,900 plus are non-residents. Then from the northeast, the northwest, the southeast, and the southwest. And then the total number of participants for the year 2025 at that particular recreation center. And if you wanted to know, when we identified each quadrant to the far right, it lists what zip codes we looked at for those areas. So for Northeast, 14605 and 14621. For Northwest, 14606, 14612, 14613, 14615. And then in the Southeast, 14607, 14609, 14610, 14617, 14620, 14622. And then in the Southwest, 14604, 14608, 14611, 14614, 14619, 14627, and 14642. So as we broke up the quadrants, we identified what zip codes we looked at. And so that is all of the information that is contained in your blue folder. Any questions?
Councilmember Patterson. Oh. Vice President Harris.
Thank you, Chair Monroe. I gotta say, this is a great looking document. I love this new format. It's beautiful. It reads nicely and it's colorful. It makes me excited.
Thank you.
I am just curious. I see that most of these are our centers, but I did notice the Genesee Valley Park, the sports, the Genesee Valley complex is not included in there. The ice rink and the
Sports,
pool, the pool,
so
and the sports complex.
So there is information about the pool at GVP in here, and again, this is the
in this document.
Yes. So no, I'm sorry, you're correct. That the pie chart does not include GVP and the rink. I believe when we got the request, it was for recreation centers, but it is very easy for us to add those locations. Not a problem.
Please, I would love to see the data for those locations and also the sports complex too.
Yes, we can add those on the last two charts.
Yes, I'm excited. So this is a really good snapshot of what you guys are doing, and it looks like this is definitely something I could sell to my community.
Thank you.
Councilmember Patterson.
So, just a quibble, and the quibble is this: I'm the Northeast District Council member, and my zip code is 14609, and 09 stretches pretty. It runs. So the break line. I'm actually looking at the line right now because I'm a nerd. The line stretches between it's right over there by number 45 school. So a pretty significant part of the Northeast, if we're breaking it up by the districts, the council districts, is in 14609. So it's not all. A significant part is 21 and 05. But there's also a pretty solid component of it that's 09 too. But that's a quibble. So I'm just sharing that. Other than that, great work.
Okay, thank you. We'll see what we can do with that.
I'll start with President Melendez and follow up with Councilmember Gruber.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question about access to services. So on the charts, all of the attendees at our rec centers, regardless of residency, it's free. Is that accurate?
Yes, and the majority of our programs are free. We do have our after school in the park and our summer camps that is a cost.
Sure,
a very minimum cost.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess the question I have then is, so I'm not suggesting we have to do this, but I know that as a city resident, if I want to go to participate in something in the town of Greece or Irondequoit, as a city resident, I have to pay a fee. Whereas any of these I guess 17,000 times someone that's a non-city resident came to our rec centers, they enjoyed it for free. And I wonder if there's maybe not an appetite to do this now, but an exploration of whether or not we should be in line with what other municipalities are doing right around us.
So we have had that conversation in the last few years, and we thought it would be quite challenging because when you register with our central, there's no checks and balances to verify your address. So you can live in another zip code, but register with a family member and then have access. And we would not have the manpower to check every person who came in to verify that they actually live in the city or not. But I will not say we won't rule that out as a future opportunity, but we have had those conversations.
Thank you.
Sorry, Councilmember Gruber, followed by Councilmember LaShunda Leslie Smith.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. There is just so many opportunities at our rec centers. The brochure we have here, I'm assuming, are these hot off the press?
You are getting them today. They will not be released until May 19th.
Gotcha.
And they will be,
secret.
so we do mail the summer our guides to everyone's house.
Oh, great. Well, please make sure that the council staff has some hard copies too, so that we can hand it out ourselves as we go around the community. But just such a tremendous amount of opportunities. I really gotten to know the rec centers better through the eyes of my 6-year-old, and just really appreciate how many opportunities there are. I just have 2 questions about them. One is the chart you gave here. I know this is not a budget hearing, so I don't want to ask you for specific information yet, but this chart right here that shows the utilization, are we roughly back to a pre-COVID usage rate?
So last summer when we looked at our numbers, we looked at just the summer numbers, and we were close to pre-COVID numbers last summer. We did do some analysis, and it took us a while to get to those numbers, but last summer we were very close to our pre-COVID numbers.
Got it. And so ultimately, these numbers are all trending upwards.
Absolutely.
Maybe not center by center, but overall.
Overall,
okay.
Absolutely.
Great. That's great to hear. Then my other question is just the one thing, this is not a criticism, it's just an observation that within this, obviously every rec center has their own kind of niche programs, right? So there's fishing at one place, but not at the other. How does that get developed? Is it just based on the appetite and the desire of individual staff there, or is there a reason why there's programming in one place and not in another?
So there are some programs that are consistent across all rec centers.
Right.
For example, summer play days, we do that across. But then those specialty programs are based on where their location, as well as some of the staff who are looking to do those with the community. One of the things about that is no matter which art center you're registered at, you can go to any program that you want based on that event or activity. We've talked about not having everything everywhere so that we have variety.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it is largely, it's in a lot of ways driven by staff expertise that's at one place. And there's an opportunity that if it goes really well, it can be kind of expanded and replicated somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Last question. Do you have a sense, I know this is a school district issue, but a sense on when the Adams Street Rec Center pool is going to be open?
Got to take a deep breath there. So as of recently as last week, we had an estimate of maybe August 1st.
Oof.
Yes. And so the delay, I have to speak to why there was a delay. There was asbestos found as they were doing the project, and that caused a pause. And then they had to go back and figure out how to remove that so that they continue with the project. I will say that my counterpart from DES and my team has been working closely with our CSD to see what's the best possible solution to try to move that along, because we do recognize it will have an impact, and you know this, for summer, because we do get a lot of usage in the Adams Street recreation pool.
And then also the Flint Street pool will be out of operation this summer too.
Yes, for construction project as well.
Okay.
We were not planning for Adams Street, but we did know about Lightfoot.
Well, let's hope they get it done by August 1st. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Leslie Smith.
Apologies to the staff and my colleagues for running late today. I believe Councilmember Gruber kind of dug into the question I was asking. I was wondering if I had missed data that was showing some year-over-year trends, and perhaps if in the future, because this is really great, if you can, when you provide this kind of data, if you can show us maybe 2 to 3 year period, because it'll help us better understand what the trends are. So thank you for answering that question. But also to President Melinda's question about charging for non-residents. The data does show here that we have been tracking non-residents. Are you suggesting, Commissioner, that if there is a fee for non-City of Rochester residents, that people would just simply change their addresses?
That is what our data in the past has shown, and we could not, I don't think we have a system in place where we can scrutinize if you are or are not. You use someone else's address, and the way we know that is when we rent our facilities, family members rent for other family members so they have access to those facilities.
Yeah, and so just another point of clarification. So the 21,157, are these individuals here, non-residents of individuals, or are these entry points? Like
it's entry points, so
okay.
It could be the same
person Got it.
going
Okay.
to a different location.
Okay, I just want to echo the fact that I do think that it's probably worth the effort, and maybe if there's past data that shows that hasn't been effective, if you can share that with us. I do think it's important for us to think about revenue streams so that we can keep as many city-related programs as possible.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Harris.
Point of clarity for myself, my apologies, Dr. Green. I did find the data you provided for GVP and the stadium, but it wasn't itemized in the this bar chart. So if you can add that to the bar chart, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Commissioner, it wasn't clear to me. So we have several of these kinds of the Excel sheets, and they seem to have the same dates on them for the July 1 through August 31st, 2026. So I'm just wondering why we have a few different ones.
So that could be just we did not carry it over, but these are all dates for summer starting July 1 through the end of August.
Can we have it, so basically, so it's separated by rec centers, except each packet is different. So could that just all be merged into one sheet so we can look and see, here's everything at Adams Street, here's everything at Hope Center, things like that?
So the way it's organized is by the first section is youth programming and then adult programming. So we were trying to give you a better understanding of what's happening at rec centers. Is it a youth program? Is it an adult program? And so if you look at that, that will show you. That's why you may have 2 pages, and Adams is on both, but one is for youth and one is for adult.
Okay, I see now. So it's the age is...
Yes.
Could I also get that electronically so that I can play around with it?
Yes, I can send this electronically.
Thank you.
All of the entire package.
As you're talking about the difficulties in knowing exactly where people are from, and obviously we know that there is a fair amount of transiency as well, as we're talking about payments for renting a center, it might be a reduced fee for residents and a higher fee for non-residents, correct? Or would that be the only place where there's really a...
So right now we have one fee. It used to be a different fee, but because of the challenges, it's just one fee no matter where you live.
Oh, okay. My one other question would be if we then can also have a sense of, for council districts, the numbers of children using the American Community Surveys from the U.S. Census Bureau to get a sense of how many youth there are. So they have theirs, I think it's probably 18 and under. I don't know if they split it up more than that, but they would be able to have probably numbers from actually 2025, because they certainly do it, I think, midway in the census.
So is that something I can get from that organization? Because I would not have that.
Okay, yes, that is on the Census Bureau's website.
Okay.
Does anybody else have questions? Yes.
Just one other question, Commissioner. On page 2 of the pie chart document, when you're referring to unique membership scans, are these unduplicated scans here? So, in other words, 12,147 people use our centers?
Let me follow up on that one.
Okay. I'm just curious overall what our unduplicated number of participants are on an annual basis.
Yes, I can look at that data.
That's how I would read it, Councilmember. I think you're correct.
Did you also have a question, President Melendez?
No question. I guess I'll just beat a dead horse one more time and say I think we should be charging. And I do want to explore that. I get ID'd when I go to other places to visit, and I know that's a manpower issue probably for us and maybe some technical issues in terms of how you execute it, but it is certainly a revenue stream that I think would benefit the city. Thank you.
Do we charge for Art Smart Camp and those types of things?
Sarah, Scott, can you answer? Do we charge for Art Smart?
Yes, so we charge for our art camps and our after school in the park program, and we do have priority for city residents. If there's space, non-city residents do pay an additional fee for those paid programs.
Okay.
But priority is given to city residents first because of limited spots.
And I know that we continue to be in discussions about this, but as we look at just the total number of interactions for the people from the Northwest, we're just looking at a 14%. So somehow we're not getting services to people. And as we know, the Northwest and Maplewood in particular is one of the largest growing neighborhoods in the entire city because we do have a large number of new Americans who settled there.
And we're looking forward to the opening of the Nature Center. That will increase those numbers because we will have summer programming there, after school in the park, as well as open opportunities. So I do expect to see an increase over the next few years in the Northwest because of the opening of the Nature Center.
Great. Will the afternoon in the park then, will that be run like a rec center where anybody can drop in, or is that still school bus based?
So after school in the park currently is a drop-off pickup program that is currently at Lake Riley, and we're duplicating that program over at Nature Center. So it will be drop-off and pick up as an after-school program.
Okay. So yes, those additional services will certainly be enjoyed. But of course, a rec center is a little bit different as well. But I'm very excited for the Nature Center, and we just had the ribbon cutting on the new playground, which is really special because it is different than your typical playground. In addition to being ADA accessible, it's not something that you see everywhere. Do my colleagues have any other questions? Not seeing any, we will continue. Thank you very much, Commissioner Green. Okay, so introductory number 157, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $1,045,000 bonds of said city to finance a portion of the cost of the Rundell Memorial Library Elevator Modernization Project. And I do see a disclosure from Councilmember Gruber for 157, and then the companion item 158, because he is a representative of the RPL as a member of council. He just has to disclose, and he can participate in deliberations and the vote. I need a motion and a second.
Chair, question.
Yes, Councilmember Patterson.
So this is going to be for all of our items that are related, that have MWBE goals. If we can get the updated report on the status of past projects and ongoing projects, especially design projects, projects that are in design, projects that have completed design, and projects that have been completed in the last 3 years. Status of the MWBE program, how you guys have been doing, how they haven't been doing. I guess my first question here, as I look at this one, is kind of like, okay, we've got RPR services, and you've got two folks doing the work. You've got the general contractor and you got the electrician. Which one of those three is an MWBE? And how are you going to meet your goal on this one? I mean, just in general.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
I certainly can. So the question is this. We're looking at 157, 158. Looks like we've got 3 contractors. We've got Labella doing our RPR services. We've got, who is the other one we got down here? We've got the person who's actually building the elevator. We got the general contractor, which is GGA Builders. And then the electrical contractor is Invictus Electrical. So and it looks like Christine Hand is the CEO there. So that might get you to your, one of those 3, that might get you to your MWBE. But one of them anyway, so that might get you to well, that ain't gonna get you to 30%. But if you guys could explain to me how who are the MWBEs on this particular project and other projects like it where we have goals, please identify the MWBE contractors and how you guys are reaching those goals.
So Invictus previously did have WBE status with New York State.
Okay.
I understand that they no longer have that status.
Okay.
So I don't believe any of the prime contractors on this project have M or WBE status. So the goals will be achieved by utilizing subcontractors or subconsultants on these contracts.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. So I would like to know what that plan is, because by now I imagine they've identified their subs. So if you can get that report from them and share that with us, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Yes, that'll be something that we'll have to work with purchasing and compliance.
Of course,
on.
Absolutely. No, I understand that, and I get it. It'll have to be in writing,
and just as a point of clarification, the MWBE plans are likely not finalized yet.
Okay, well, that's fine.
We will convey what information is currently available.
My hope is that it will help to jog the memory and push compliance in the event there was some concern about possibly not meeting a goal. And that's why I'm also asking for the past utilizations, MWB utilizations for completed projects that we've had over the last 3-5 years. And I understand that'll take some time to get to me.
We'll get you that.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Motion carries. Introductory number 158, authorizing an agreement for the Rundell Memorial Library Elevator Modernization Project. Questions, concerns?
Move it.
None.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 159, authorizing a professional services agreement related to the citywide carbon monoxide detector replacement project.
Question.
Yes, Councilmember Patterson.
So, particularly with this one, since we've been having, I believe we've been having roughly the same contractors for an extended period of time. Is that correct?
I'd have to confirm, but I believe it was a 3-year term.
Yeah, that's fine. So if you can identify for me which one of these are MWB and E, that would be great. There are utilization goals here for professional service consultants. So I imagine we got to have them in here because we've been using the same folks for quite some time.
Yes, so on this transmittal, they are identified whether they're a WBE or an MB.
Oh, okay. Well, we got so that's good. So what in that case, what I would like is to know what their utilization has been. So they're on there, but then show me what the utilization has been over this period of time
For the last contract?
Yeah, that'll work.
Sure. Yep, we can provide that.
Thank you. Move it. Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes, thank you, Chair Monroe. I'd like to know if you can provide the numbers of buildings in the city that's out of compliance with NFPA that will require the replacement CO detectors.
I didn't catch all that. I'm sorry.
Can you please provide the number of buildings in the city that's out of compliance where they'll need the replacement detectors? Even if you can provide that in writing.
Is that for the carbon monoxide?
Yes.
So that's part of this evaluation. Or let me back up a little bit. So this program started due to a requirement in 2016 to add carbon monoxide detectors to all occupied buildings. Since approximately 10 years is about the expected useful life of carbon monoxide detectors, this program will have the consultant revisit all of the installations in city occupied buildings, verify which need to be replaced, and determine if any need to be added.
Okay, so I thought maybe you guys already had an anticipated number, but that explains it. Thank you.
So I understand there's about 165 buildings that are anticipated to be evaluated under this program out of the city building inventory.
Okay, that's helpful. So as a follow-up question, will this amount that's allocated here be enough to cover all those buildings and any additional ones that's identified?
We believe it will be. In the event that there's unanticipated additions to the program, we will evaluate funding at that point.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 160, authorizing agreements for material and environmental testing and exploratory drilling services. Any questions? Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Now we can take the vote. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 161, authorizing and appropriating funds for the Mount Hope Cemetery fence replacement project. Any questions?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 162, a resolution appropriating 2025-26 Environmental Protection Fund grant program funds from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for the Mount Hope Cemetery fence replacement project. Any questions or comments? Yes, Councilmember Gruber.
Sorry, just one question about this project generally. Will the construction of the fence impact, will the sidewalks be unusable?
We think for a short period of time during construction, probably during next summer, the northern sidewalk on Elmwood Ave would be closing. There would be a detour.
For like a very short amount of time? What are you thinking?
We haven't really figured out exactly how long construction would take, but it's probably about a 6-month period, 4 to 6 months.
Okay. Well, I assume things like Lilac Festival and a whole bunch of other stuff that happen right over there will be thought of and considered in terms of trying to reduce impact.
Yep. Yeah, we can coordinate the timeline.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 163, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $300,000 bonds of said city to finance the Rockland Park repair project. Questions? Seeing none, can I have President Melendez?
Yes, thank you. Had a chance to look at the legislation review questions from Chairman Rowe's meeting, and the road restoration cost per location was what drew my attention. And it looks like at least in the last 2-year period before this year, we've spent about $2.5 million on these road repairs for the water main breaks. And I know these are unpredictable and dependent on weather and other factors. It's just something that's going to be tough to keep up with. But I wanted to ask the administration if we can get a further look back beyond 2 years and kind of look maybe 5 years or so, maybe 10 years at what the cost has been, just so that council can get a better understanding from a longevity standpoint how much this is costing us in the city, and then also if the cost of these repairs are getting more significant.
Yeah, we can provide you that information. Certainly, asphalt prices have gone up over the years, and
sure,
that information will certainly allude to that. But we'll get you the how about 5-year history?
Yeah, that would be good. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 164, authorizing appropriation for the Rockland Park repair project. Any questions?
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Hearing none, the motion carries. Introductory number 165, authorizing a professional services agreement for the fiscal year 25 infrastructure for the FFY. That's different.
No question.
Is there a difference there with FFY 25 as opposed to? Oh, that's
Federal.
the type of infrastructure investment, right? I remember when I first read it, I went through that a couple times in my head. So this is a professional services agreement for the FFY 25 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act lead service line replacement project. Any questions?
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson.
Okay, so back to compliance again. Just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So we've already started doing work with these dollars as far as infrastructure replacement for water lines?
So this is the 3rd year of this program. We have begun construction for the 1st year.
Okay.
And we are in the middle of a bid opening scheduled for next week for the 2nd year. So this will be the 3rd year of this program, and this will authorize the design and then construction administration for that 3rd year series.
Okay. And it looks as though there are DBE requirements for these dollars, and is that correct?
Yes. Because these are federal funds, there is a DBE requirement as opposed to a MWBE requirement.
And so this has been running long enough that we should have some detail on them meeting their DBE requirements?
The construction projects as well as the PSAs submit plans through our purchasing department and New York State to get those approved.
Okay, so we should. So I would like the results of their DBE progress for the time that they've been in operation utilizing these dollars.
We can get you that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Motion carries. Introductory number 166, authorizing an agreement related to container replacement. Any questions? Councilmember Gruber?
Yeah, just like to understand a little bit more about the pilot, Commissioner. I know this is due. It sounds like the month of the pilot worked. I guess I'm mostly curious about kind of what the backlog of providing these, what's the word that you use? Refuse carts in the transmittal. Just understanding what the backlog is in the need.
So we are still in the pilot program, just finishing the third week. And we have completed 1,300 stops with this vendor. It's allowed us to see an audit, which tells us what's there. And the audit includes at least 2 pictures, sometimes 3. And it tells us what's there, and it shows the before and after of what they did for repairs.
So this is not emptying the receptacles. This is replacing.
Replacing and repairing.
The need is there's thousands more, right?
There's probably another 1,500. We'll know more once this pilot is completed. They have another week, a little bit over a week to go. And then we intend to come with this legislation to continue them on to complete the.
So is it a kind of thing where once we get through that 1,500, we'll be caught up, or there's just a constant need of hundreds per month?
So it depends on the season. Currently, we get about 30 to 50 requests a day.
Wow.
So, and it could be for a wheel, it could be for a top, it could be for additional containers that they're not allotted for.
Wow.
Once the season, after winter, we always know we have a spike right now.
So is there the $833 per day? I assume we don't want to do this if we don't have to. So we're going to try to get ourselves out of the backlog, figure out how long we want this to go on for. Or do you see this as a kind of perpetual thing?
I would, with my rosy glasses, say that we would get out of the backlog, but depending on the season, it may create more. And there's other items that they can assist with the carts. We have some contaminated recycling that needs to come off the routes. Right now, we're focusing just on the backlog of requests for service to the cart.
Got it.
So just to add to that, I mean, again, the summer, this time of year is really where it ramps up. We think that if we can get rid of the backlog through the summer, we will be able to pick back up in the fall and the winter to maintain that ourselves. So that would be our aim, to just do it ourselves during the winter times. But certainly when we get more requests this time of year, I think it's prudent to work with this contractor to do the service.
Got it. So we're being asked to support today, which I certainly support the idea of, is capping it at 60,000. But if you got through the backlog and we only spend 20,000, and you decide at that point you want to cancel it, you'll cancel it. There's no fee or penalty for stopping whenever you want to, and then. If you exceed the 60,000 or get ready to, you'll come back to us for another approval. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
I will just say operationally, I think however we manage this issue going forward, we need to manage it and we need to communicate it well. We are all on those emails, the 9 of you, myself, and everybody else. And I think this is something that's just an inherent thing that we need to deal with operationally. So I think we need to get ourselves caught up and then have a process to effectively manage it going forward and meet expectations.
Sounds good to me.
And I'm not sure if it's as obvious in the transmittal, but so they'll come right on site, and if they have to replace a wheel, they'll do that. If it's a top that's been chewed through by a squirrel, they'll just take the top and replace it. So definitely saves us money for the price of an entire toter. Any other questions?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Introductory number 167, authorizing agreements related to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Question.
Yes, President Melendez, followed by Councilmember Martin.
Yes, thank you. First, I just want to say to the administration, thank you for answering my 1,000,001 questions recently related to animal services. I appreciate all the responsiveness to that. I wanted to get a status update because it kind of relates to this particular introductory on how we're doing with the vet search.
We still do not have a vet. We have a new contractor for recruiter that has been approved. We're just waiting for the contract to be fully executed, and then we will begin meeting with that new recruiter.
Got it. So that search hasn't started with the recruiter yet? Okay. And this in this item, we are extending the term 6 months to October 31st. Is it anticipated that we would expend all of these dollars for the spay and neuter services by then?
Stacy, can you answer that?
I am hopeful that we will be able to spend down this grant. This grant was originally awarded to, we wrote it into a contract for a different vendor to provide services. That vendor stopped providing those services, so we lost a lot of time, not due to us, but due to the vendor. So we're going to quickly see how fast we can get these vouchers out as soon as this contract is executed. We've got the vouchers printed and in envelopes and ready to go. So the second this contract is executed, they're getting dropped in the mail. So we're working as fast as we can internally. It's just getting this vendor to provide the services as fast as we would like them provided.
Thank you. And one final question. In terms of the value of the voucher, could you kind of give council a sense of what do we give out in terms of the value? Does it cover just a portion of the spay and neuter service, or does it cover the full service?
This voucher provides the full service for the Alter, but no additional services. So it will provide the Alter and a microchip, but nothing besides that. So no vaccines or other treatments if the animal needs anything else.
Got it. Thank you.
Councilmember Martin, followed by Councilmember Patterson.
What is the reason for the grant extension?
Stacy.
Because the original vendor stopped providing those services, and so we needed the extension on the grant in order to find another vendor to provide the services enough to spend down the grant.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the 7 kittens that I was fostering 2 summers ago, I kept one, and we adopted her. And I missed my appointment at Lollipop Farm, so she hasn't been spayed or neutered. And if you haven't lived with a girl cat who hasn't been spayed or neutered,
we know. We can. When you're ready, you just call me.
Okay,
we'll fit you in somewhere.
Because brother, it's loud for a week.
We will fit you in. You just let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
We'll fit you. We can fit you in at the shelter. You don't have to go to Lollipop.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Vice President Harris.
Thank you. Do you know how many animals will be covered on this new grant for the vouchers?
So this should cover about 300 animals. We're hoping. It's whether or not the vendor can provide 300 surgeries in the next few months.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Introductory number 168. Authorizing a grant application and agreement relating to the renovation of the Trenton and Pamela Jackson R. Center Playground. Yes, Councilmember Patterson.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilmember Gruber.
Is it a huge playground? Feels like a big price tag, or am I just missing the ball on that?
It is quite a large playground that we are redoing the entire playground, not just pieces of it.
So the whole area, like between the basketball court and the entrance,
Yes.
essentially, and it's just going to be a much bigger playground.
Yes, and we're hoping to do some pieces that would be inclusive as well.
Different age groups, I presume. Like, will it have like the little kid space and also the bigger kid space?
I cannot tell you the specifics of the playground at this time.
So we're obviously just approving a grant submission. Is the hope to have a grant and then go into design at that point, or is there a
Yes.
design in mind?
Yes, and additional funding will be needed if necessary.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Councilmember, Leslie Smith, and then President Melendez.
So to the point of the design pending, what will the community engagement strategy be around this?
So whenever we do playground bills, we involve the community. We have meetings in the community to get input on the design of the playground. So that's a practice we always use.
Mr. President.
Yes, thank you. I just had a general question as we do new build playgrounds. Being that we just cut the Maplewood playground this week, and noticing that the surface that we used there was the rubber type surfacing versus last summer we did a playground at the Ryan Center. I think it was a Kaboom playground, and we used wood chips. So is there a standard by which Dries is kind of choosing what type of surface material to use, or is there a practice or a decision based on the site?
Sarah Scott, can you answer that, please?
Yes. So the playground build that was at Ryan was kind of a phase one. Ultimately, the vision with the 25 and 5 project is to go back and add on to that space. All of our future sites will be probably tile or poured in place. We're moving away from FIBAR. Because the Ryan project was like a phase one, we selected FIBAR because then we can add on and ultimately do tile or poured in place when the project is complete. And again, that is all subject to funding and grant awards and whatnot.
Great. That's helpful to understand that even the Ryan project might expand, which is great to hear too. So
Well,
thank you.
Also, just want to say that we are aware of all the sites that still have FIBAR. Those are on our radar. The idea is, as funding becomes available, to phase those out and replace every single playground in the city, get rid of the wood FIBAR and move towards poured in place or tiles.
Any other questions?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those against say nay. The motion passes. Introductory number 169, authorizing a lease agreement with Mentors Inspiring Boys and Girls. Any questions?
Move
Vice
it.
President Harris, Councilmember Martin.
Just a quick comment. I just really appreciate this use of city property, and thank you for this.
Motion?
Move it.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Councilmember Smith.
Thank you so much. I also want to echo the sentiments of Councilmember Martin. For those of you who don't know, Roxy Sinkler was my cousin, and she passed of cancer. So this is a wonderful addition and complement to the use of this space. So I want to thank you guys for that. I also have a question, though. I want to know, how are lease agreements acquired? And I also would like to know, what is the citywide policy for leasing public assets? If someone could give me that in writing, that would be great.
Yes, we'll get that to you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Introductory number 169. Nope. 170.
170.
Turning one page and didn't turn another. Okay. Introductory 170, authorizing a professional services agreement with the Synthesis Collaborative Incorporated.
Question.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, it's going to sound strange, why we're seeing this, because I thought the cutoff for contracts was higher.
Can you repeat that?
Well, I thought I didn't think this is a $6,000 contract, right? Okay, well, is that what it is? Well, let me just ask. What is the cutoff limit for the amount where you guys have to come to council for authorization?
So there's another organization within the city that's also using this that takes us over the $20,000
okay,
threshold.
that was the question. Yes, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, 6,000. What? Okay, that's the point. This takes us over the 20. That's why we're doing it. I got you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have a
Move
motion?
it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The motion carries. Introductory number 171, authorizing an intermunicipal agreement with the City School District for the joint use and maintenance of facilities. And there's a disclosure here for both Vice President Harris, as she works for the City School District, disclose the affiliation only, and you can participate in the deliberations and the vote. And that brings me to Councilmember Gruber.
Thanks. Has the agreement changed at all? Are there any changes to what was in it before?
No, there's no changes. In particular, one thing that's different is we had a separate contract for school number 33. And so we added them in this so that we didn't have two different contracts. And that had to do with when the facility was originally built with all three entities. For some reason, it was just designed that 33 had its own agreement. And so we just put it in this agreement. So we only have one agreement for all of the joint youth facilities.
Got it. And does the agreement ultimately, actually, you know what? I'd like to just ask for a copy of the agreement. I don't need to bore you with all sorts of questions, but especially if it's not changing, I'd like to just see what kind of what things are covered. I'm really curious about, sorry to bring up a sore subject again, but things like the Adams Street pool and what happens in situations like that, and how cost or responsibility are meted out. And I'm sure it sounds like there's no issues with the contract because you're renewing it. I don't think the district has any issues with it, but I'd love to just have a copy of it at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? President Melendez?
Yes, thank you. I think Mitch's line of questioning will probably get this answered for me. I think seeing the agreement will help. But in terms of the cost-sharing formula, I guess given the changes with the cost of utilities and other things, I'm curious as to understanding our share in these agreements, and maybe just seeing the agreement would help. But if nothing's changed, I just would be concerned that we're stuck with a bag when we're not maybe utilizing the facilities as often as the district would be.
I think that is part of the agreement, the cost of utilities that is in there. So I will share that.
Thank you. I'll move it.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Introductory number 172, authorizing the acquisition of land parcels in fee, permanent easements, and temporary easements for street purposes for the Dewey Avenue and Emerson Street reconstruction project. There will be a public hearing on this at our May 14th meeting, 6 p.m. Oh, yes, Councilmember Martin.
In the ordinance, it mentions that the owner of the Grote Street parcel is not willing to cooperate. Can you share a bit more about their position?
We'd have to get you that in writing.
Okay. And I'm guessing you all have spoken to them at some point. There's been interactions.
We'd have to get you that in writing. I believe we are meeting with their attorneys very soon.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to obviously I'm not on this committee, but I would like to ask to hold it till we figure out what's going on. And following that meeting, I understand eminent domain is a tool that we have in our toolbox, but before moving forward, I think we just need more information and to be able to just understand the circumstances with the landowner. And I understand you'll share those in writing.
So this this transmittal does not include authorization to acquire that particular property. I don't know if someone from our law department is here, Patrick, but I don't know if Tom Worth is here to speak on that behalf, or we could get you that in writing. Confirmation.
Yeah, we'll get you that in writing.
I will say, not in the transmittal, but in the actual language of the ordinance, it does say, I can read it if it's helpful, whereas due to the lack of cooperation by the owner of the Grove Street parcel, the city is unable to communicate a statutorily required written offer and negotiate the purchase of real property interest in and to all parts of the Grove Street parcel, as a consequence of which it will be necessary for the city to acquire the Grove Street parcel by means of proceedings pursuant to the New York eminent domain procedure law. And that is under the ordinance entitled Authorizing the Acquisition of Land Parcels and Fee. And it goes on, intro 172, page 111 in the digital copy.
Yes, Councilmember Patterson.
Okay, so thank you for reading that and sharing that, Councilmember. To the administration, well, to Corporation Council, doesn't it make sense that regardless of whether they agree to it or not, since it is our intention to redesign this intersection, that you can negotiate, but whether you negotiate or not, we're going to take this property for public use? Isn't that rational to have in the legislation?
Yeah, we have power to take by eminent domain. And so, the legislation, it would make sense to address all those things. But if council wants to put questions along these lines in writing, we're happy to get a written response that's complete and accurate.
Okay. Another question is, does this preclude continued negotiation with the property owner?
No.
Thank you.
Councilmember Monroe, for your consideration, I would just ask that we hold it. It sounds like since this is a legal question and there may be negotiations going on, they're not able to give answers today. I do support this project, but I just want to make sure I understand the position and circumstances surrounding the landowner.
Thank you. Any other questions? For Grote, is that the person who has the business as opposed to the owner of the property?
That's the owner. There are currently no active businesses. I believe there's currently no active. There's 6 storefronts.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're all currently vacant.
Okay, that's that long brick building on the southeast side?
Southwest
side?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's also some apartments above, and because we are unable to contact the owner, we don't know how many residents actually live up there. We believe it's half vacant. I believe there's 8 units, but we're not 100% certain of that.
And how long would the process take if we don't hear from the owner? How long?
It's a very complicated process. I personally don't know the ins and outs. We have to follow federal guidelines. This is a federally funded project, so we would have to give you that in writing. But it's lengthy process.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why we indicated in the transmittal that it's possible that if the relocations do not occur in a timely manner, it may not be ready for construction next year.
So, sorry.
Councilmember.
So in essence, the language of this ordinance is saying, we are essentially approving taking this property using eminent domain, but we don't know if there are people living in the property. We're still waiting for answers. Could you provide some clarification?
So, as far as I understand, we can't just walk in and start knocking on doors. That we need to get permission to enter the premises. But again, we have an outside counsel, attorneys that are working on this, and it's a very complex process that I can't personally. I don't want to give the wrong answers.
I hear you. And again, I support this. I just also want to make sure that we have some information around who's there, what's going on, why are they resisting. I do recall previously with the Bull's Head developments, there were issues around eminent domain, and the landowner was deeply affected and would come to council often. So I just want us to be intentional before we approve and understanding who owns it, what's going on. And again, I fully support this. This is a great plan. Just want to do my due diligence.
Thank you, council member. Anybody else? I appreciate you raising that issue. I do feel comfortable moving it forward, and I ask for a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those say nay. The motion carries. And part of that is just the long-term planning. I know I've been kind of waiting for this for years. But thank you. That brings us to introductory number 173, authorizing the alteration of pavement widths relating to the Dewey Avenue and Emerson Street reconstruction project. Any questions?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The motion carries. And with no further business, the People, Parks, and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Good afternoon. At this time, I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee to order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Vice President Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Gruber. Councilmember Leslie Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Lupien. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Monroe.
Here.
Councilmember Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
President Melendez.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call to attention to my colleagues. There are reports on your desk. That's the Public Safety updates for May 2026, and then the Fire Department monthly update and the PAB update. I also like to ask the administration that provides the public safety updates to make some minor adjustments to the report. I noticed there are several upcoming events that's in the report, but we don't have a time. We don't have a time for some of these events. Some of these events have dates, but no actual times of when they start. So it would be helpful to my colleagues and myself that we get that information in the reports going forward, if you could. And if you can provide an update to the report that's submitted for this month with that information, we would appreciate it. Thank you kindly. On to the business. Introductory number 174, authorizing the agreement related to psychotherapy services. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I need a motion and a second.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Introductory number 175, amending ordinance number 2026-24, 2026-25, and 2026-26, related to the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services grants. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I need a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
No.
Councilmember Gruber, Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupian, Councilmember Martin,
No.
Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson, Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, no further business. The public
Madam
safety-
President? Vice President,
Melendez.
sorry.
Yes.
Just a quick question related to the data we received. I had a question related to RPD recruitment. Pleased to see only 3 retirements in the last 30 days. Hopefully that stays the same way. But in looking at recruitment for the written exam, it looks like we had almost 1,000 signed up to take the exam. And then we have a recruit class starting, if I'm reading this correctly, where the candidates are going to be interviewed by the Civilian Review Board. Is this the first time that we're doing the Civilian Review Board panel interviews for this, or is this something that's already been underway?
This has been ongoing about 3 years. I can get you the exact number, but I've been working with them for quite a while. It's through UCLM.
And I recall that. I guess I've been asleep at the wheel and haven't paid attention enough to know that we've been doing that. In terms of the applicants for the recruit class and the written exam, and the number of slots that would be available for the upcoming recruit class, what is our total capacity potentially for a recruit class?
I'll have to get you the exact number. Usually we budget for recruit classes of about 25. So the way the numbers have been working, 947 is a great number. It's the highest number of signups we've gotten in quite a while. But we have been in the 800s before. So what we expect, despite the fact that we actively reach out to these folks and remind them, please come to the test, you signed up, please come, please come. About 50% will only actually show for the written. And then after that, the pool typically diminishes by about 50% every time. So out of this number of applicants, a very successful class would be a full hire of 25.
25, okay. And last question. One of the challenges we have in the county anyway is obviously competing with other departments and the sheriff's office, et cetera. And I know that our workforce development program that we put a lot of energy in and we get a lot of support for tends to recruit a lot of city folks that are interested, but then they land in the sheriff's office or somewhere else. Is there any strategy we could be pushing for to try to either expedite RPD hire or expedite, I don't know what's getting in the way of them deciding RPD over sheriff's office, but is there anything that we could be doing to support that effort?
So we've expedited a lot over the past 4 years, about as much as we can. I'm still waiting on New York State DCJS to change basically the physical agility, which we'd volunteered to be a pilot agency for, I think about 2 years ago. They're now telling me that's still about 48 months away before they have that new physical agility up and running. I can say we are in the process of backgrounding 3 out-of-county laterals right now. And I actually have 3 or 4 lateral applications from surrounding towns, which is first that's happened in a good long time. So
good.
I'm hopeful.
All right. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Vice President.
Councilmember Patterson, followed by Councilman Martin.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be brief. I understand, or I was made aware that the sheriffs are fully staffed, and in the course of running around here and there, someone had mentioned that Buffalo Police Department is fully staffed. Can you comment on either one of those, and can you get back to us with something in writing on what they might be doing, or whether or not that's true, that's different than what we're doing?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on Buffalo and Syracuse. I can tell you the county and our surrounding towns are fully staffed, but you have to remember, for some of those towns, fully staffed is 6 people.
Right.
So,
but the sheriff's office is pretty large.
They are.
So I mean, briefly.
Well, we pay more. We have better health care.
Okay. Well, why is it? Why? I guess I'm trying to understand why is it? And yeah, I'm asking for the public. Why is it easier for the sheriff to staff up than it is for RPD to staff up? I have an idea in my head. It's totally different. It's significantly different work, but.
So we have an upcoming work session on recruitment for RPD and RFD, and I think that would probably be the most useful place to cover it, so we give all the necessary context around these great questions.
Thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
2 questions around the PAB. 1, in the future, can we have PAB leadership attend these meetings? Since they submit a report, we could ask them about it.
Absolutely. I'll make that request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
2, Patrick, I heard from AFSCME, and I learned that the workers' benefits prior to them being cut by the city have still not been restored. Could you provide an update on when that would happen? Just wondering why they haven't received their benefits yet following the court ruling.
Can look into that and let you know.
Thank you. And last thing, so in the PAB report, as compared to the others, there aren't a lot of like numerical details. For example, in discussing the staffing and structural realignment, it doesn't say that 6 staff members were fired, and before that 2 were fired. So we don't have a full picture of what changes are happening. There are narratives which are helpful, but I think we need more detail. And lastly, I think this is for President Melendez. On page 2, where it talks about City Council collaboration and public safety alignment, it said that the PAB met with you to discuss realignment. It may be helpful if we have some additional notes on that, and that can be discussed later. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional questions or comments by our colleagues? Okay, then there's no further business. This committee is adjourned.
Work session at 5:30. 2 a day.